I am a yoga instructor and yoga therapist from Singapore. It is a great pleasure and honor to be amongst such great dignitaries and speakers today. आप सभी का मैं तहे दिल से स्वागत करती हूँ. As you all know, 21st June is the International Day of Yoga, and we have started the celebrations already. News.Online, in association with National Youth Foundation, Indian Yoga Association, and Parmarth Niketan Ashram have organized International Yoga E-Conclave, and today is the second day. We have some renowned and eminent speakers from all over the world to enlighten us. Yesterday was the first day of the conclave, and we had the privilege to listen to many spiritual gurus and yoga masters from all over the world sharing their wisdom and knowledge with us. It is my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to all of you for the second day of International Yoga E-Conclave 2021. I would like to thank the sponsors of the conclave, who are City Montessori School, Vishwa and Vyasa, Canada, the Art of Living Foundation, Hum Purna Yoga Institute, Sarva Yoga International, Resonance the Yoga Studio, International Naturopathy Organization, SBPASS, World Yoga Federation, Yoga Alliance International, Sanmarg Event Expert, Adhyatm Yoga Kendra, Soham Department of Yoga and Naturopathy, MJ College, Jalgaon, Ananda Ashram, Pondichery, Dr. Nutan Ayurveda and Garbh Sanskar Academy, Manav, Dharam, Argentinian Hindu Parishad. Thank you all. The reach and spread of yoga today spans across continents. There are communities of yoga practitioners in almost every country in the world today. In order to benefit fully from yoga, to understand yoga in its entirety, we must reflect on who is a yogi. There is a beautiful shlok in Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna says, Yasmano dvijate loko, lokano dvijate chayaha, harshamarsh bhayo dvegair, muktoya sachme priyaha. By whom the world is not disturbed, and he who is not disturbed by the world, who is free from joy, impatience, fear, and distress. He is also dear to me. As you all know, we are going through extraordinary times with the pandemic still quite prevalent. As the world battles the COVID-19 pandemic on a war footing, India's traditional system of yoga has been established as a means to boost immunity, improve overall health and well-being. On 20th March 2020, Director General of the WHO also suggested that people could do yoga to maintain their physical and mental health. This will not help you only in the long term, it will also help you to fight COVID-19 if you get it, he suggested.
Pranam aap sabhi ko. We would like to welcome you all in the International Yoga E-Conclave, organizing it virtually today. ये कोरोना का एक ऐसा कठिन समय है जब हम सभी अपने अपने घरों में हैं और इस समय बड़ा ही मुश्किल हो जाता है चीजें कर पाना. फिर भी हमने एक प्रयास किया है और एक कदम उठाया है इस दिशा पे कि हम लोग कोरोना को तभी हरा पाएंगे जब हम योगा को इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे, जब हम नेचुरोपैथी को इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे. इसी क्रम में मैं आप यहाँ आए हुए सभी अतिथियों का हार्दिक स्वागत, वंदन एवं अभिनंदन करता हूं. इसी क्रम में हमारे बीच में आज कार्यक्रम के चीफ गेस्ट श्री 1008 आचार्य महामंडलेश्वर स्वामी कैलाशानंद गिरी जी महाराज हमारे बीच में आ चुके हैं. मैं उनका भी अपनी News.Online की तरफ से हार्दिक स्वागत, वंदन एवं अभिनंदन करता हूं. We would like to introduce that this event is conceptualized and organized by News.Online in association with Parmarth Niketan Ashram, Haridwar, and Indian Yoga Association, supported by National Youth Foundation, City Montessori School, Vishwa and Vyasa Canada, the Art of Living Foundation, Hum Purna Yoga Institute, Sarva Yoga International, Resonance the Yoga Studio, International Naturopathy Organization, SBPASS, World Yoga Federation, Yoga Alliance International, Sanmarg Event International, Adhyatm Yoga Kendra, Soham Department of Yoga and Naturopathy, MJ College, Jalgaon, Ananda Ashram, Pondichery, Dr. Nutan Ayurveda and Garbh Sanskar Academy, Manav Dharma, Argentina, Hindu Parishad. We would like to welcome you all again. एक बार मैं स्वागत करना चाहूंगा हमारे आज के कार्यक्रम के विशिष्ट अतिथि स्वामी गोविंद देव गिरी जी महाराज जी का, जो कि हमारे बीच में आ चुके हैं, जो कि ट्रेजरार हैं राम जन्मभूमि तीर्थ ट्रस्ट न्यास के। मैं स्वागत करना चाहूंगा हमारे बीच में परम पूज्य हिज होलीनेस परम पूज्य स्वामी चिदानंद सरस्वती जी, जो कि फाउंडर हैं परमार्थ निकेतन आश्रम के, वो आ चुके हैं। मैं उनका स्वागत करता हूं। I would like to welcome from my kind heart Dr. Anotnietta Rozzie from Italy, founder Sarva Yoga International. I would like to welcome Sneha Arora, Indian classical and Bhakti singer. I would like to welcome Valentina Cortini. I would like to welcome Sri Gaurav Prakash ji, जो कि हमारे बीच में आ चुके हैं. I would like to welcome Carlos G. Verratti, the director of the Center of Yoga Sadhana of Argentina. I would like to welcome Mr. Adi Stern, co-founder Astang Yoga. I would like to welcome Swami Vidyanand ji. He is a very renowned and founder and president Yoga Alliance International, World Yoga Federation, Meditation Alliance International. I would like to welcome you all here in this board, in this International Yoga E-Conclave. We are doing it for the second time. एक बार पुनः यहाँ आए हुए अतिथियों का मैं आप अपनी सभी सहयोगी संस्थाओं की तरफ से हार्दिक स्वागत, वंदन एवं अभिनंदन करता हूं और अनुरोध करता हूं आज के कार्यक्रम के हमारे होस्ट तनुज नारायण जी से कि कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाएं।
और मैं इनवाइट करना चाहता हूं एक बहुत ही इंटरनेशनली स्किलफुल एंड इंटरनेशनली, जो जैसे स्वामी जी ने कहा कि स्किल की जरूरत है। सो 44 साल से, लास्ट 44 years शी इज बीन प्रैक्टिसिंग योगा इन इटली, एंड आई वेलकम डॉक्टर Anotnietta Rozzie. She is the founder of Sarva Yoga International. She is based in Lursi in Italy. एंड आपको जानकर ये बहुत खुशी होगी कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री 2019 में उनको शी गॉट एन अवार्ड फॉर आउटस्टैंडिंग कंट्रीब्यूशन फॉर प्रमोशन एंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ योगा। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने ही हैज़ बीन अवार्डेड फॉर दिस आउटस्टैंडिंग कंट्रीब्यूशन, एंड आई रिक्वेस्ट Anotnietta जी टू give her words, and she'll be speaking on youth and management of stress in distance learning. So I welcome Dr. Anotnietta. Please take it forward, sir.
Thank you so much. I have many reasons to be grateful today, and I would like first of all to thank the organizer for this wonderful e-conclave that makes me come back to India, because I was used to come to India 1 or 2 a year, and I miss very much my second home, which is India. I miss my gurus and master, and I take the opportunity to greet the Reverend Swamis, and especially my guru and beloved Swami Sadananda ji. I'm so happy to meet you here, and thank you for the inspiring word. So this is a great opportunity. Unfortunately, I cannot understand the speech of Swami Kailashanandgiri because I don't understand Hindi, but I heard so many times the word Maganga. I see the Maganga behind, and the beautiful voice of Swami Chidananda ji makes me to stay with you on the holy bank of Ganga, which is really a holy place, and I love it so much. So thank you for this wonderful opportunity. From the inspired speech of the Swamis, I heard that there are no parallels to yoga. Swami Gitananda ji said that. And Swami Chidananda ji says also that yoga is a universal education, And it's a medication for all education, because there are many education we need. So my task in spreading yoga in the West, in Italy, in Europe, has been to, first of all, to respect the tradition, because this is the main and the only way to live peacefully with other culture, with other population, with other brothers in the world, is to have mutual respect. So I don't like very much the kind of yoga sometimes that misunderstood and misused. This wonderful and richness, which is yoga for humanity. And Swami Chidanandaji underlined many times, humanity and community, and the peace and live together. And I think this is, of course, the goal and the task of every human being, but especially we have to deliver this task in a proper way to the young generations. They are the future of the humanity. And if we educate them in a proper way, if we allow them to know the potentiality of yoga, really for the new generation, for the new world, I think this is a richness that and a gift that India has given to all the world. So my speech will not be so inspired, of course, like our respected Swamis, because I am an educator, and I teach for the first time in the West yoga pedagogy in an official university. It may seem a little step, but it is a big step in the West, believe me. And we try to underline the common way that and ancient wisdom we find in yoga that can be translated into a modern language, in psychology language, and especially in some pedagogic theories. So we have this task also to make it understood from people who are not born in India, who are not, like many of you are, aware of what is yoga and spirituality of yoga. So we have to introduce step by step. And I just noticed that the problem we face today for young people in the pandemic are only increased. Western society has some problem. I don't know if India has also, but this COVID pandemic, which has afflicted the whole world, has increased some fragilities and some disorder, especially in young people and young people of all age and culture. And also it has created new challenges to be overcome in society and in education as well. So in European society, educators, psychologists, sociologists have highlighted a number of problems in youth population, particularly among adolescents, which are increasing. And young people are experiencing problems of anxiety, panic attack, and depression, with an increased risk factors also for psychological illness that can lead often to violence and sometimes even suicide. The WHO reports that depression is one of the leading causes of illness and disability among adolescents, and that's really tragic, that suicide is the third leading cause of mortality among young people from the age of 15 to 19. So there have been set up special programs in all countries of the world for promotion and prevention of mental health of young people, focusing on the development of 3 points mainly: emotional management skills, strengthening resilience, building meaningful social and emotional networks. These are, modern words to translate what exactly Swami Chidanandaji says, to educate, to build a society where we can live all together in peace and not in pieces, as we say. So the COVID pandemic only accentuated the mental health distress and risk for these young people. What can do yoga for those people? Apart from the beginning where everything was new and even the social distancing was amusing for children, after some time it became a big problem because this meaningful social and emotional networks doesn't not exist. They exist only in family map, but for adolescent, the family is also the seat of many conflicts. So specialists notice that precisely because of the pandemic, there is an absolutely unusual and new situation. Even adults had to adapt very quickly and also create new methodologies in distance education and in responses also to discomfort and pathologies of youth. Without the support of many studies, because everything is new and we don't have researchers that can help. So people have to rely empirically on initiative or personal intuition. In particular, the distance learning, which has been applied for many months in Italian school, European school, and maybe in Indian school too, was initially experienced with a pleasant amusement, as I say. But after some time, psychologists, psychiatrists have drawn attention to the psychological and relational impact of the pandemic on young people, highlighting the increasing cases of anxiety disorder, irritability, stress, sleep disorder, and, as I said, among the most vulnerable, extreme case of self-harm and suicide. We start to study this problem, and they are confirmed by recent study carried in Italy by some center of psychiatric society and also some association for child and adolescent welfare. And all of them report an increase in mental disorder. And the problem is that this disorder will drag on for some time, even after the pandemic, and are creating an underground, what they call behavioral pandemic. So during the social distancing, everyone also has to stop sport, recreative activity, and even yoga classes have to adapt to new online modes. For adults, continuing the practice of yoga during lockdown was an extraordinary opportunity to cope with the stress and difficulty. So we do with some teachers have structured programs, new methodology for the online practice of yoga, also for children and young people, who have followed the course with a lot of interest, experiencing a well-being that has motivated them to continue for several months. Now we are at the end of the year, so school will close soon, and we also will close these courses. And what is amazing is to see how the ancient science of yoga proves to be always up to date and to respond precisely to the need of modern life and its challenges. The methodology of yoga seems to have been structured to deal with the situation of great change, like in this period, that inevitably involve stress and suffering. The yoga, of course, has many facets that make it adaptable and effective in many contexts. And in a pandemic situation that required ability and adaptability on a social, behavioral, emotional level, we can say, and this is the way I try to explain to other teachers, to at the university, but also to the general public, how yoga can be useful in this situation too, giving them some practical example. For example, if we take asanas, in addition to their numerous physical and psychological benefits, asana are also a real adaptation training tool. The body takes on different forms, different shapes, like matrices. That structure also the mind to have a multiform thought and adaptable responses. The gentle way also of assuming and maintaining yoga posture develop a non-violent attitude, for example, ahimsa, which will also express in relationship with oneself and others. And it is very useful in balancing the fear, and fear very often lead to aggressiveness. We can see the same with pranayama, for example, pranayama technique in the same way. Only changing breathing pattern is an effective method of controlling the emotional state that conditions the mind also. So the voluntary and conscious control of the breathing counteract the deepest inconscient fears that every living being experiment, the fear of death, abhinivesha, that never before today has echoed in communication, in family atmosphere, and has crept in among young people. So even with this basic tool of yoga, young people experience calm, relaxation, well-being. They experience also their ability to self-manage discomfort, and that develop greater autonomy and a great self-confidence in themselves. That is indispensable for overcoming anxiety, fears, and also this feeling of uncertainty of the future. So using natural method, we explain that yoga helps to create and consolidate a psycho-physical balance, even in difficult situations. Yoga teaches pattern of behavior, learn without difficulty, as we say in asana, embrace control in the management of emotion, that counteract stress, anxiety, insecurity, loneliness, fear of death, etc. And it is very useful this to help young people to build and structure their personality. So there are still not many studies on the effect of the yoga on the pandemic and young people. And we say none of on the positive effect of yoga till now. But in an empirical way, the practice of yoga has proved to be a great support to help not only to overcome the discomfort of the pandemic, but also to prevent its long-term effects that, according to psychologists and educators, they believe that they are inevitable. So in that way, we help young people to approach yoga and make a lifestyle according to the rule of yoga in a soft way, without teaching or imposing some structure from outside, because they are very reactive on that. The most important thing is their motivation is due to the wellness and comfort they experience themselves. So it increases their capability to have a personal governance, which is the autonomy that every human being should have. This is a very short view of how in Italy and in Europe we can apply yoga in several contexts, and especially in education. Thank you very much, and once again I am grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, Swamiji.